Welcome to Two Psychics Talk About Periods. All the boys leave the chat. How's your period going?
Oh, it's late.
Hmm,
Yeah. And when I say late, I mean like she's on her own timeline, but I am
right.
trying to
Time
keep
is
up.
relative.
Yeah, like
Time isn't real.
what even is a normative period these days? I don't like those biomarkers of health because I don't think that that's true when you're an energy healer.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are times when I am shifting such a big energy that my body is so intelligent that it will delay my period.
Yes. Sometimes I will ask my body and be like, you know what? There's something important coming up. Maybe I'm traveling. Like, let's just move it to a day that I can handle it. And it just always works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done eating popcorn, but if you guys are curious,
Oh, this is today's. You're gonna have a snack every day, every time we record one
yeah,
of these. First one was chicken nuggets. Now there's
we're doing
popcorn.
Angie's Artesian Treats. Mm. Okay, anyway.
Not sponsored.
But if you'd like to sponsor us, I'm open. Send
Right.
us an email. Hello at psych-school.com. Anyway, okay, period. Before we lose your interest, I am on, let's see, really exciting part of my period is that I use the Natural Cycles app. Okay. So I am on cycle day 35. Well, love that for me
Why does it still say use protection? Does it
because
just
I
always
did
say that?
it does because I didn't track temp this month because
Oh, okay, okay.
I only track temp if I'm like being
Spicy.
sexually active.
Yeah.
Yeah, spicy. And so I didn't track temp this month. So you'll get green days when you ovulate and all that kind of good stuff. But that's what I use for the birth control and to track my cycle. All right. Let's see if my luteal brain can even come up with any information around periods.
Well, how are periods different now that we're psychic compared to before we're psychic? So, like for me, before I did my intuitive training, and I was just like, oh, my period is just like it happens to me, and it's like painful, and I can't control it. And I was on birth control for a lot of years for medical reasons. And I did reach a point where like I didn't want to be on it anymore because I wanted to live, like actually be in touch with my body and my cycles. And also, I was getting older. I knew that there were certain health risks the longer that you stay on birth control into your 30s and 40s, etc. So, but I had certain health issues that I had to deal with while coming off of it. But then, learning to see energy, learning to look at my female reproductive organs and my hormones and kind of be listening to what my body was telling me. It just really changed how I approach my period and how I treat my body at different parts of my cycle. So I would say there was a time where I tried to be very like analytical about it, of like I'm in luteal, I need to eat this and do this and not do this, and I'm in follicular and I can only do this type of exercise, and I would be a little bit militant about it. But that was just the phase that I was going through to get to the point of just kind of being having awareness, not control, not trying to control my body, but just having awareness of where is my body? How does my energy feel now? Oh, it feels like this, so I'm going to respond to it. And it's more of a dialogue than just me complaining about like, oh, my body does this and I hate it.
Yeah. And how many of us have been conditioned to think that our body hates us, right? For me, I had really long, heavy, painful periods. My period was really like considered late. I had thought I had PCOS and I had thought I had endometriosis. And we talked about a little bit about this on the doctor episode. So I love that we're following up with this because it's like, as you start to heal your energy and take more authority of your space, you realize all the places in which you've been kind of programmed to believe something about yourself. And then if you tell yourself that story over and over and over again, it compounds and it turns into a belief. And so, you know, every single narrative now, even in our media, is periods are horrible. I have to be this way. PMS. And I'm not discounting those experiences because they're very, very true. But if we keep feeding that storyline, which I did for a long time, then we're in resistance to what our body wants, needs, whatever it is. And that creates more suffering than just accepting that we're cycling women. And so for me, my period was always a source of disappointment in a sense of like, I have to be removed from the world and cramps and all this. And I have painless periods for the most part now. I look forward to them.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and this is why we're on this call because I'm like, my period is late and I'm not pregnant. Why? Right? Now, if we look at like the medical system, you have PCOS, something's wrong with you, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I ovulated late due to a pretty stressful growth period, which is also okay. Um, but it's important to start to celebrate ourselves for how cool our bodies are. And I mean, not to sound fucking like I'm bragging, but like our bodies can energetically release once a month, like
Mhm.
physically release energy once a month. And male bodies don't really have that outlet. So so
Oh
cool.
yeah. Period day one is a celebration for me. I'm always like, yay, go body, we're doing it. It's like the best, the best thing. Um, it's a miracle. It's a reminder of what we're capable of, you know. And it's so interesting that there's a lot of resistance against the cycle and the ups and downs that we go through and those challenges. But I think it's just because we're forced to live in a world that requires a lot of constancy of us, and for us to show up kind of like how males show up of like, same energy every day, giving the same amount, same level of focus, same level of strength, same level of ability every day. And we are physically not made to do that. We are not made to be, in the same level every day because our hormones are just different. They pattern differently. And when we force ourselves to hit that constancy, that's when our body starts to kind of react and be like, well, no, I'm not made to do that. And then it starts to kind of like pull in the opposite direction, which is when you get issues like really painful periods or irregular cycles or fertility issues or any other of the host of things that are just the body's way of saying, something's off, you know. There's a natural rhythm here and you're forcing the rhythm to be different than what it is, which is fine for a short amount of time. It's kind of like, if I'm traveling and I have to get off my workout routine, that's okay for like a few weeks, but constantly for years and years and years. I mean, I worked in a corporate environment for years and pushed myself mentally and physically, honestly, to kind of the edges, and that takes a toll.
Mm. Hmm. What do you think? What do you think is the energy that sits on women having painful periods? Why do you think that that manifests that way in the womb?
What energy causes people to have painful periods? I mean, it could be different. I mean, a lot of it's control.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of it's control and also like resistance of like not wanting to release, not feeling the permission to release, you know. And there's also all this judgment and shame around, well, you didn't have a baby and you're not using your creative energy the right way. So this is gonna be painful, you know. Um, So that's what I'm kind of noticing.
Oh, just a quick little read.
Nice little read of collective energy around your uterus.
Yeah. I see a lot of when I look at the womb space or I look at somebody's hormones or look at y'all, I'm so late luteal that my brain, like this is normal, right? Like this is a normal response to your hormones, like riding this wave all the way down to the abyss, trying to force yourself to be intellectual. So I'm gonna just go psychic on y'all because it's just I can't use this analyzer today for this conversation apparently. But your womb has its own genetics. And so essentially like if your genetic space has been programmed to reject being feminine for lots of reasons. Number one, men are more regarded than women. That's still true.
Hate to
Women
break
have
it to you.
been, killed for bleeding or making messes or being messy. Um, oh, there's so many pain pictures here. And I imagine that most people who experience period pain are quite literally feeling their ancestors and trying to help them release that energy. I mean, you're releasing your endometrium, your endometrial blah, 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 lining. And I really believe that that is directly related to the female line. And I see it often. And it's like when you start to separate from the expectations, the pains, the fears, the disappointments, the experiences that your ancestors had being a woman and start to set the energy of what it means for you to be a woman changes the game. Because currently in our collective, we have all this information about, well, this is the right way to be a woman. On follicular, we eat this. We have 4 blueberries and da 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 da. And then luteal, you're a fucking evil bitch. And you know what? Most of the time, I kind of am. Doesn't mean that I'm always that way. But it's like we so want this framework because being a woman hasn't been modeled enough in the different aspects because we're shapeshifters. And so we want this like male consistency that we force our bodies into, including the medical pictures around me freaking out because my cycle's late.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing it right now. I'm literally like, well, you should be normal. You should be perfect.
Yeah, this is abnormal. It
Yeah.
means something's wrong energetically. It's the same energy of like diagnosing the problem.
What if your period's not something that you're meant to fix? Oh.
Yeah.
What if being a woman is not something that you're meant to fix? Oh, I have enough popcorn for this.
Oh my God, that brings up so much energy. This is down of like female, number one leading cause of death on earth is being female in a
Trying
female
to
body.
change yourself into being something else.
I
Number
mean,
one cause of death for female energy, trying to be something that you're not. And this is why there's like autoimmune, all these female disorders,
cancer.
cancer. They're trying to be rejecting how your body is, your rhythm, to receive safety, being something else.
Yeah. And
Oh,
people might say, oh, you're not doctors. But listen, everything is energy. You know, trees are energy, computers are energy, our bodies are energy, and what happens in our body is energy. So everything physical comes from an energetic place. And I love what you said about like the genetics and the ancestral piece being inherent in it because it can feel so invalidating when you think you're doing all the right physical things, eating well, taking supplements, doing, exercise to regulate or whatever, balance your hormones or whatever they tell you to do to get your cycle and rhythm. And you could be doing all the correct physical things and still be experiencing pain or still be feeling like something is off. And it just goes to show that there's sometimes this quote unquote invisible piece that is contributing to the physical reality, which is the thing that most people can't see, which is the thing that you and I see every day is, yeah, that energetic anatomy, what we inherit through generations of ancestors, and they pass down these energetic packages to us that then we're carrying in our bodies and as if there are, hours. And it's not deterministic. Those things are changeable. It moves. So it's not like if you inherited something, it's yours forever. We get to choose what we want to inherit and bring forward.
Mm. I think that's where the power really lies, right? I'm thinking about my female line right now, and I'm thinking about their relationship to their period. Never was it celebrated. Always was it quieted. And like the women in my line have had hysterectomies, and no shame to that. Sometimes it happens that way. It's okay. There's no perfect picture we're holding any woman in. I remember my mom had like a lot of polyps and bleeding and like just things like that. And it was interesting to experience because when I had started to awaken and realize I had been basically running the most male energy you could possibly run my whole life just to keep up. Um, there was a big moment for me where I was like, I don't want to hate myself anymore. I don't want to hate my period. I don't want to hate my body. Like, that's not doing me any favors. So it's time to love this. And I remember that I did this photo shoot with my period blood and I put one little period blood
Mhm.
on my third eye here. And period blood is amazing. It has stem cells in it. It's like literally what the lining that literally allows a baby to connect in. It's like the coolest thing ever. It's the most connective point ever. And I remember getting roasted by men about it, like including my, ex-husband who's like, this is so weird. I'm like,
They're jealous. They're
I was
so obviously, it's hilarious how jealous they are.
like, and I'm like, oh, if somebody is giving me shit about something, it's always a good invitation to pay attention because that might be a place where I'm powerful.
Yeah.
Huh. And, you know, it's interesting, like even dating men, right? Because I teach like cyclical awareness. So naturally, within, a week of dating someone, I need them to know where I'm at in my cycle. Like, obviously, I'm like, this is where I'm at. And I'm very frank about it. I don't say it with shame. I'm just like, hey, this is what I'm doing today because of this. Men are so fucking appreciative.
They love
They
it.
love
I
it.
mean, the guys that we date are just like,
Yeah.
they just, they're like, tell me more about your period and what you need and what I can do to help you. And I'm like,
What do
wow,
you need? I'm like,
amazing. They love to provide.
what's your favorite thing to receive on your period?
Um, I, I feel like we both like when people feed us. I like when people bring me like hydration because I never drink enough. So if somebody brings me like some coconut water or
Yeah.
some snacks or some like ice cream or something, and also like compliments. Like I want to be told how beautiful and amazing I am and get lots of like hugs and kisses and be like, you're the best ever, even though you're bleeding out right now.
I think I sent you this study or this woman talking about how women are more sensitive to rejection right before they bleed because I don't know the science behind it, so don't come for me. My brain doesn't work right now. Clearly, your brain can like the capacity to think, not here. Um, but it's true. Like I tend to go much more inward and have more sensitivity to criticism or rejection or things that are just normally very easy for me to move through with. like a
Mhm.
lot more neutrality. My neutrality really comes lot more down, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think because our sensitivity goes up.
Yeah.
Is I mean, it's the releasing
Mhm.
point. So anything that is not in alignment, you're just like, fuck off.
Fuck
Like
off,
get out
like,
of here. I also find that I try not to go outside. I try not to do anything too physically demanding because I will hurt myself. I'm like I'm just always dropping things and being really clumsy, and that's a known thing when you have your period. Like I don't do anything intense at the gym. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be clumsy and I'm gonna let somebody else do things for me if I can, or just not leave the house.
yeah, well, all your blood is headed towards your womb to like go through this process. And so you're actually more prone to injury when
Yeah.
you're bleeding or like I can't at the gym before I'm about to bleed. I'm like I can't lift this. I lifted this 3 days ago perfectly with ease, and then I'm having it. I know I'm gonna get my period because there's a mini tantrum that happens every fucking time. And I'm like, well, and then I just sit there humbled. I'm like, you're not a man. I mean, how many times? How many times do you think that you are? And what do you need to be so jacked for?
But it is so ingrained. Like we've been practicing this, we did our female training a while back and we still catch ourselves in this like paradigm that we do need to match that in order to be, performing and productive and useful and I don't know, it's so ingrained.
Not to like make it emo and Scorpio, but like I will.
That's
Um,
your role in this show.
my role in life is to bring everyone down into the, but like if you have never been validated for being a woman, okay? You've never been validated for being a shapeshifter, which is powerful, for bleeding, which is powerful, for taking time to rest, for magnetizing, for being in that yin state. It's so painful to be in it because our world constantly validates male energy. It constantly validates predictability and consistency, and that is not female energy. And so I imagine it's really painful to feel like you don't get your source of connection from other people because of your body, or you don't belong because of your body. And that's just a program. Like, that's just a program. And it's so fucking unfair because it's like, of course I belong. I'm a woman. I created you.
Yeah.
You literally came out of me. What do you mean? I mean, not me personally, but it's just there's so much female invalidation just existing as a woman. And to address that makes me a little teary-eyed. Here we are, Late Ludio. I'm like, I'm gonna crash out on this
Gosh,
podcast.
you guys don't make Alexandria cry.
It's me making myself cry. Not
Alexandria,
even
don't make
that.
yourself cry.
I'm like, what the fuck? You're
Being a
never
woman is so
validated. You're
beautiful.
never validated for being so awesome. So yeah, of course we want to take on another persona to like receive kindness. If you get validated for achieving, you're gonna keep
Yeah,
doing
that's
that.
intelligent. That's adaptation. That's intelligent. We intelligently adapted to the surroundings that we were raised in. But the hilarious thing is that it's actually the opposite of what we think. So the more we're able to rest and go into that like winter of the bleed cycle and the menstruation, like the deeper we can go into like that stillness and let our bodies rest and do the releasing the more our creativity peaks during the other parts of the cycle. So it's kind of like this wave. And so if you're resisting the release and you're forcing it to be up here, when you get to that abundant creativity phase, it's not going to, it's like already backed up from the time before where you forced it. But if you're able to kind of like dip into that low, then you have momentum and you can ride the high. And then when you're feeling that, energy of follicular and ovulation, you're like a fucking superhero. You're like, whoa. I mean, even just watching us in our business and how we produce, not to say that we follow the same rhythm every month, it's dynamic. But it's definitely apparent, like, even when it feels like today we're both in our luteal and we feel like, oh, we're not going to be that productive. We're not going to do too much today. But we actually did a lot. But it was the type of work that we did was different because we were saying, what's not aligned? What isn't working for us? Let's remove that and then make room for what is aligned. And that's how working in your cycle actually it makes it less work because you're not working against what's naturally happening.
Oh my God. Can we please segue into how amazing our business is? Because when you validate the female body, you validate the rhythms, you validate the cycle. You can just bring your full self. And just for like data information, my brain is like,
Oh,
no.
data information. I wasn't familiar
Data
with that term.
information. What is that? Oh my God. Like she's not here, y'all. It's
You're doing
okay.
great.
I'm gonna only speak to you guys telepathically from now on because I can't
Obviously.
articulate anything I want to actually say. Um,
This is a good one. This is good.
your nervous system is directly correlated to your cycle. They both are riding the same rhythm. So, however you treat yourself during your period will reflect in your nervous system for 28, 30, for me, 35 days, right? They're directly related. And so you can take a man and he can have an experience and, can move it out. His cycle is complete. We're going to be distilling that information. And my belief is that because women are so much more connected to the cycles of Earth and the collective, that we really take one big overarching theme per month and process it. And so, how you treat yourself while you bleed sets the tone for how much, like just Christy said, like that you can have in ovulation. And I love the way we worked together during our last ovulation cycle. We created a whole new lead generator in like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like it was literally nothing. How much effort did you feel? I kind of gauge my effort to how much am I clenching my jaw doing this? I didn't clench my jaw at all. I was like, let's do it. Let's make it easy. It's just really interesting to have a business where we give each other so much permission to be women. Like there was a call we had recently where both of us looked at each other, we're like, no. And then like, I think we pretty much
Oh,
cried
I think we
the
spent that
whole
whole time
time.
crying.
I think we
Yeah,
just
I
and
cried a
I was
lot.
like, this is part of
Yeah.
it. I was like, this is part of business. And like, if companies actually included the crying, oh my God, the productivity would be so much higher because did we not get so much? We were like,
Yeah.
not today.
I mean, think of how much you're trying to work and you're distracted because you're not dealing with something personal, and then it's just like sitting in the back of your brain, like taking up space, and you can't actually you might spend time working, but it's not necessarily working on towards something. It's just busying yourself. So what's great about us and how we work is that we're not compartmentalizing to the point where we're pretending that we don't have normal lives. We're pretending that the energies we're facing in our personal lives don't like immediately and directly affect our business because it does. It's going to come out if we don't look at it and face it. It's going to come out in how we're working with people, what we're teaching, the spaces that we're creating, and us honoring that for ourselves sets the tone for our students of you have permission to show up in your female and what's true for your female body. I mean, we have menstrual days off. First day of your period, you automatically get them off. No work, no calls, class can cancel class. Like we do that for ourselves. Of course, we have to. We can't teach people female energetics if we don't set that example.
Yeah. It's really important. And there are some days that I'm like, I need it off. And then
Mhm.
there's some periods I'm like, I'm alive and well because I'm so connected to source. I'm like, oh, I'll teach a psychic class.
Mhm.
Don't even think I won't. It's gonna be great because I feel so much more psychic on my period. And I think that that's something that maybe women don't realize that they can tap into is like the insula in your brain are more active when you're bleeding. So if you want to
The
get like
what?
the insula in your brain, the little receptors that can bring you into this like introspective nature are more active when you're bleeding. And so that means, I mean, biologically, you're more psychic. I'm psychic all the time, but like when I'm bleeding, I love when people book readings with me. I'm like, oh, it's going down. I'm like, okay. And it's always the perfect timing. So there are times, where I'm like, I need a full day off to connect with myself, and I do attempt to give myself 24 hours during a cycle to just be off. But there's also a lot of times I want to work because I feel so connective to my abilities.
Hmm. Yeah. But basically, we're awesome every part of our cycle, but our periods especially.
Different flavor.
And I love what you said earlier about the period blood because sometimes I use the period blood in my meditation sometimes to like mark my space energetically, not physically, but I also use my period blood like around the house for things like for my plants and stuff. And I mean, listen, companies pay thousands of dollars for women's placenta. I think there's actually like some companies that want to like harvest women's menstrual blood, to like use it in studies or in products because that's how powerful it is. So it's just like on the one hand, they say like, oh, it's gross. Put it in the toilet and throw it away discreetly and don't let anybody else see it or don't speak of it. But then like people acknowledge that it's like gold and it's energetic gold. It's like the building blocks of life. So,
I mean, like, just picture this. Picture this. You're so connected to your body, and you have enough information to give yourself permission and luteal to just lose it a little bit, to not have a grip on everything, to scale back your meetings, to cry a little bit more. You actually give yourself permission to let anything that needs to process. You don't feel scared. You feel secure. You inform everyone around you that you are about to crack and you need more help. And so people bring you dinner and they take you on adventures that you want to go on.
and
I
they
don't know.
tell you that you're pretty.
And they tell you you're pretty and they tell you that you're loved. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm validated for being in a female body. Great. Then you get your period, and a man with biceps makes you a freaking steak, medium rare. Like, what? I'm just picture this with me. Then you call your business partner and you say, period day, taking it, no guilt. And she's like, high five. Okay. You take your period day. The next day, you're like, I'm more psychic than I've ever been in my entire life. Book 10 readings. You're like, I don't need to, like, I can just move through my rhythm, how I want to move through it and not shame myself about it. And then you have a period that says, thank you for making space for me. You made space for me. It doesn't take a lot to make the body happy, which is, kind of ironic. We're very much inundated with a lot of like self-care, and you have to do everything so consistently. Again, male energy. If I give my female body 10 minutes of lying on the floor, this is wild. This is what I do to ground. I lie on the floor and I give myself a grounding cord, and then I let myself feel without judgment for 10 minutes anything I'm feeling in my body. I swear to God, the whole day is different. And I'm like, 10 minutes on the ground? Are you joking me? That's it. And she's like, thank you. That's all I needed. Wow, you avoided that for 2 weeks. I'm like, you're right. You're right, I did. Um, it just makes your period so much better when you're not avoiding it. I
Yeah.
love
And I think we just there aren't a lot of examples of what this looks like. There are plenty of examples of people saying, I powered through this whatever while on my period. I was an Olympic athlete training on their period or somebody, and I did it even on my period. There's plenty of people sending that message and great for them. But also we need more people sending the message of like, it's okay not to do that. It's okay to like give yourself a break and do something that's like less glamorous and just riding those waves. I just didn't think, that part is if people are doing it, it's very, very hidden. But I feel like you and I are kind of like just figuring it out as we go. We didn't start our business thinking it was going to be this way. We just realized, oh, the more we work in this female vibration that is validating to us, the more things need to change, which was extremely challenging for me, coming from a very masculine work environment and wanting to like leverage that knowledge and that experience and in my businesses and then going through things one by one and being like, oh no, that's me trying to control my body, how I run meetings, how I manage money, how I communicate, how I market. It's like infiltrated into everything. And so it's really looking at every aspect and being like, what's the way to do that's actually validating for my rhythm? And we just don't see a lot of examples of that in media in other women, even women who are all about female empowerment. You look at their messaging or how they work, and it's still like very much in control and rigidity and, things that are just like, this is not to pit masculine energy against feminine energy. It's just about we're in female bodies. So there's certain things that we can't tolerate for extended
More
period.
about like, control. It's like I don't know if y'all are catching on, but I maybe don't give a fuck. I'm doing this podcast episode in bed.
You
I'm
do.
literally laying here eating kettle corn in bed.
Just YouTubing from bed.
Something I like to ask myself, oh, YouTubing, yes. Something I like to ask myself often is, what do I need? How can I show up? If I'm meant to show up and I have this consistent thing that we've committed to, how can I show up and then I adjust that to where I'm at? Right now, I'm like, I'll do it, but I'm going to be in bed and I'm going to have my snack. And my words may not make sense, and that's okay. You're getting a different, this version of me is still so valid just because she's not analytical as fuck. Like, I'm here and I'm like in the vibration. She's still valid. And it's like letting yourself be seen as being a cyclical woman is very important. Like, and we talked about this, like media and culture, it's all like, how do we compartmentalize that so no one sees? And you're seeing it right now. I have like popcorn kernels on me and like I like it's messy. It's the feminine is always going to be messy. It's always going to be chaos. And the reason that our society is so afraid of that is because there's this idea that we can have control, and we quite literally cannot. You can't control the feminine. Imagine that. We'd have the perfect births. We'd have perfect bodies. Like, no, you can't control nature. Let's just say that.
And it's so funny because what you said about like I'm in bed, I've got my popcorn kernels, people would point at that and be like, well, that's unprofessional. And people have. People have
But
said that about this, this show of
well,
like showing up
good.
showing up where you are is offensive to me because and people label it as like unprofessional or too casual or something's wrong with that. And that is just what's the energy that's thrown at women when you're not perfectly buttoned up in the way that other people expect you and would prefer you to be, which is perfect. Um, Completely composed, the strength of 1,000 men, and able to do anything, whether you're bleeding or comatose. You still have to show up and do your job and parent and do all the things, and there's so much expectation and obligation when the reality is it can be messy, like you said, and that doesn't mean that it's less valuable.
Yeah, with a smile on your face, just do
Yeah.
do everything. And like, the only people that I feel like it affects is people with that programming, and usually men who are looking towards women to hold their regulation for them. Nothing like, you know, love the men that are around me because like I'll lose it. I've been doing a lot of complaining lately. Let me tell you about this. When I'm at this part of my cycle, I notice that I'm like whiny. I'm like, it's fun. I'm a Leo, so I can be dramatic, but it's funny to just watch men be like, fine, right? How often have we been
Yeah.
conditioned that we're not allowed to have any needs? We're not allowed to complain. We're not allowed to, like, it's just distorted that women aren't allowed to take up space or like,
Have needs.
I don't know, for me for a long time, I'm like, I remember specifically years ago, I was just driving to DC with one of my friends, and I was so insistent on getting there. Like I love to go at my pace, and the person I was traveling with had to use the bathroom every hour. And I was like,
My God.
you can imagine the male control in me. I was like,
Yeah.
have no needs. Like we have an objective.
The mission. The
The
mission comes
mission.
first before your bladder.
And she just taught me such a beautiful lesson in fucking chilling out. Is not to be cheesy, but like it's not about the destination. The destination's really cool, but the journey's also cool. Like where I for me sometimes with my cycle I'm like so excited to ovulate because I know I'm gonna be like able to crush my workouts. I'm gonna be able to come up with, but ovulation's actually sometimes a little bit harder for me than bleeding because it's so energetic. I can feel so overwhelmed by different
Oh yeah.
ideas, energies wanting to work with me, and I'm like, everyone shut up. I feel like I get way more medium during
Oh
ovulation.
yeah.
Imagine why. Baby beings. Wait, have we talked about baby beings on this? Probably. Yeah, little baby spirits are like, fucking let me come through, bitch. And I'm like, no, girl, you can't. I don't know where this is going, so maybe we'll just
What do you think? Like, what would you say to somebody? Because sometimes it's like easy for us. We work for ourselves. It's easy for us to take a day off for a period. But if somebody isn't in that situation, they're still very much in that environment where they're just expected to show up and meet that, consistency. Like, where's someplace that they could start to have appreciation for their period and celebrate it and give a little bit more to themselves?
how PC am I required to be?
0%. I'll be PC
Fucking quit.
with your job.
Fuck are you doing? I, I'm serious though. The reality that you think that you have to work that specific corporate job as if there aren't others is insane to me. And I had it. Remember, I worked for
Yeah.
where I was working. I was like, this is the only job for me. It's like, they did not take care of me. If your job does not take care of you and it's asking for 80% of your energy, fucking red flag. We would never give that to a partner. Why would you give that to your job? So, my opinion, as your psychic big sis who's going to roast the filth out of you right now, you gotta go. If your job wants you to be compliant and controlled, do you really think you're going to be able to have a feminine awakening there? Okay, I'm done. Don't quit your job. Security is important. Yada, yada, yada. It is. And also, there's another corporate job that would give you more space. Let's just work that energy. God, wow. Unhinged.
And
Sorry,
I
let
and what I would say if you want to start
me
small, if you want to start small, take your PTO. Listen, if you've got PTO, even if it's just a half day on your period, give yourself that time, preferably a full day. Take the full day. But if not, take whatever PTO hours you have and don't use it to do housework. Don't use it to catch up on errands. Don't use it to meal prep. Use it to do laying on the couch or journaling or whatever feels like completely luxurious and unproductive and bad to do, even if just like eating candy on the couch, watching Netflix. Do that for like whatever amount of PTO that you have for that day. And you are training your body and yourself to trust you to set aside time and space for it. So your body is learning to that you are going to take care of it when it asks you for rest, for space, for nurturing. So find a few hours to give that to yourself. And then you'll be able to give yourself more time and then more time and then you can.
It's a nice next step. I love just to rip it like a band-aid. Could you tell who's worked in corporate for many years and who has never? Do you know I've never had a job that required me, like I've never had a 9 to 5 ever.
Well,
I don't,
yeah,
the rhythm for me, I could not survive it. I couldn't even go to school 5 days a week. That was hard. I had to miss like 2 days a week of school just to rest. I don't know if it's the manifestor in me, energetic.
probably, yeah, I've heard that from about manifestors that like it just physically is impossible. For me, I think I knew that something wasn't right, that I needed to find an escape route, but it was like there's a certain gap between when you know that something isn't right and when you actually have the capacity to leave it.
Yeah.
And in
Yes.
that kind of dearth is where we're kind of working with titrating more and more permission to be able to take, big steps. So taking all the small steps that lead to the big, so that the big step doesn't feel big anymore. It just feels like the natural next step. And I think a lot of people, a lot of people seem to be in that space of like, I know this isn't it, but I don't know what is it. And that can be an uncomfortable place to be, but it's also an exciting place.
It is.
We love to work with people in that exact place. I do.
We do. And you know, I'm having this moment where I love the actions that compound every single day, right? Like they build and they build and they build. And then one day you're like, I'm a millionaire, you know? Like it's wild. I'm a millionaire in feminine love for myself, right? But they all start with one small action. And I like to be a little ahead of the curve. I'm like, the trajectory is like you're leaving. That's what's happening. But let's rein it in. If I I am
Oh, I liked your first answer. I liked your first answer.
such a Scorpio, I'm like, cut that shit out. I'm done. But I have been in that position where you're like, this is my survival, right? Like it's very root chakra. And you're like, I don't know any different. And it is a quantum leap to leave a job that you've been at, a role. It is an identity shift. And that's why people work with me because I'm like, let's do it together. Um, how did I honor my period? I don't know. I haven't had, I guess I don't have the experience to, I never have had a 9 to 5. So I don't know how to do that. That's a you question. Like I have always had, I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years now. So I don't have that experience to say that. For me, I've always been able to, for me, how it started was like, I'm not going to work one day of my period. It's still the same. It's great. And there was a lot of times I had to override that with clients and things like that. It took a while to get there. And I've had jobs before where I've had to work on my bleed. I think one of the most important things for me is like informing, like being like, hey, so I want you to know, I'm on my period today. So
Letting other people know
letting other
what's
people know.
happening.
And even if
That's
that's
great.
uncomfortable, like, hey, I'm not really available for high level decision making today. I'm kind of just here.
Yeah, I have friends who would tell their coworkers or their boss that, like, listen, I'm on my period, so give me some space. And I love that. I love that transparency. Like, we need that. Not everybody gets there, but that's a good, you know, in the corporate space, I could see where that would be. I mean, I would tell people, not my boss, but
I've told my boss direct, like reclaim that power and be like, I'm bleeding. I'm required to be here
I'm
by
actively reaching
40,
out. So
but
lower your expectations of me.
it's like lower those expectations of me always. I just made it real about this. I'm like, I don't give my businesses 110%. I don't. I think that's insane. What do you have left for you? What do you have left to give to your children? What do you have left to do to be a Virgo like me, a Virgo Mars who needs to organize her closet for 7 hours? Like, what do you have left to give if you're giving 100%, 10% all the time? It doesn't mean that my skills aren't honed to 110%. The precision of my abilities honed. That took 6 flipping years. So, like, it's not saying that my skills are not operating at absolute precision, but when you develop a skill set and develop skills, you can tone down your solar plexus, your energetic output, to realize that you're giving way too much energy. Your job doesn't even require you. Like, what did I worked a front desk at a spa. What did that require me? Like 10%. And for the hourly rate I was getting paid, 5%, if that. Show up with, I think this is an important skill for women, especially who are
Yeah.
cycling. You know,
Underachieving.
underachieve for the love of all God, especially if you're getting paid nothing. Um, for
We
me,
practice this. We
yeah,
call each other out of like, you're underachieve, try harder to
underachieve, do
underachieve.
less, do less because your less is good enough, promise. Your less is beautiful. And it leaves you space to actually do the things that fill your cup. Like if you do have a structure that's like a 9 to 5 job and you're bleeding or whatever, like again, I'm gonna be showing up today at 30. Love you. For example, me on this podcast. But it's like it's okay. Now, if you have a controlling boss or something, that might be something we should probably address because it's like, why am I here? If you're listening to this podcast, you're like, why am I in a relationship that has this karmic implication that I'm not allowed to own my female energy? That would be a good little note. If you feel uncomfortable, I don't know. I guess for me, I don't feel uncomfortable with like a lot of things. I'm pretty open about things. I'm pretty bold, we'll say that. So I'm like, I'm on my period. I don't know if I would say that to a male boss. I don't know about that. But like I've had female bosses and I'm like, I'm bleeding today. And actually, maybe I would, honestly. I said that to every man I date. I'm like, you about 24 hours till I bleed. So
Countdown starting now.
just so this is a very tender
T
day.
minus 15 hours till code red.
15. Actually, bleeding for me is the freeing part. It's the day before. The two
Oh,
days
yeah, yeah.
before, I'm like currently right now, I'm like, please crack. Please crack. Okay, what an interesting.
I think I would boil I think I would boil my advice down to treat the first day of your period as if it's your birthday.
I
Because that
love that.
because it really helps reframe kind of this inherent shame that is kind of very deep underneath of like you didn't have a baby, so you failed kind of thing.
But it
And
really,
now you have to, suffer it. It really helps kind of flip the script of like, oh, what would I do for myself on my birthday? And then it kind of it really repatterns what that day is like and like celebrating your body. And you would take a day off work for your birthday. You would treat yourself to a nice treat on your birthday. You'd be with with your friends if you want, or do whatever you want, go to the beach. So I actually did that when you said like, oh, incorporate, but you can't really, I would be like, well, I'm just gonna pretend like it's my birthday.
I love that. For the women watching who are like chronically overextended, treat it like it's your kid's birthday or someone you love's birthday. The women who don't do anything for themselves. I'm like just seeing that energy light up. I'm like, they're like, well, I wouldn't give my, it's like, if you don't give to yourself, then treat yourself like your best friend.
Yeah, true.
That's at least one day of your cycle. If that's your period, if that's ovulation, I don't care. Just start with one day. Like, and then obviously quit your corporate job. Like, what are you doing on this podcast? Like, it's not even a podcast, it's a YouTube series. And you're like me, who is talking shit from bed today. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and do some psychic training so that you can look at your own energy field and what's happening with your female energetics, with your womb and actually learn to like work with the energy in your womb because we are not taught as much as we're taught about periods and our ovaries and how things work to make a baby. We're not taught about all the other energetics that are at play that literally contribute to the lives that we're creating and how to harness that energy and direct it because that's kind of like the secret that was kept from us in eighth grade health class of like, actually, this energy doesn't just make a baby, it can make literally anything. And it's working, I mean, for some people, it's working against them because they can't see that it's not in their body anymore. It's out there and other people are using it. So it was a little intense.
Oh, I love that we just learned a tool of how to call it back. It's so good. Like, this is why we teach in psychic school. This is it. This is the reason. It's like, you know what? Here's my answer. Go to psychic school. If you have a corporate 9 to 5, Christy's got you.
Have an energy check with me
But I'm
and we'll see what's
And,
really going on.
you know, ultimately, I haven't had that experience. I do empathize with that structure. I do empathize with the pictures around achievement and around security and, blah, blah, blah. Um, I do. And you create your reality. So what do you need to create for yourself? Is that space? Is that luxury? Is that more pleasure? What does your body need? Is that like less guilt, so more permission? Like for me, I've been weirdly tracking my calories. So I was like concerned that I was like eating too much. I'm actually not eating enough. So that's interesting. But I don't track anything on my period. Every food is on the table for me. And it's really freeing. Like, what do you need to give to yourself to feel nourished? And I'm not talking about, like, let's be really honest. I'm not talking about what the spiritual influencers tell you to do. I'm not saying you got to go on a hike and like sit in nature for 15 hours, like to like find yourself. That's maybe a little bit unrealistic for the modern day these days. Sometimes it's unrealistic for me. But what do you actually need? Is that watching Netflix? I watched a great little movie on Netflix last night. I cried my eyes out. It was great. It's okay. Especially to the woman who we're talking to who has never spent a day resting of her in her life, who would find it really uncomfortable. I'm so proud of us. Like we're really doing a great job. We've really come a long way. Like I rested yesterday and like I only did 4 reels yesterday, so
Well, I think we covered a lot of ground here, and I can't wait to see what our next topic is to discuss. I know we have a few ideas, so
wait a minute. I just want to add one period ritual
hmm.
that has really helped me before we close.
What is it?
I love to give myself flowers or wear the color red when I'm bleeding. It's like a little way that I honor myself. So whether that's a red hair tie or a red shirt, I just love to like have a little red look at least when I'm
Oh,
doing my
that's
period.
cute. I thought you were gonna say give myself an orgasm.
I do,
That too.
at least 4. Oxytocin helps,
Yes.
like when you're very low and you need a little bit of regulation, you need more. Anyway, but yeah, I buy myself flowers. You can see them over there, but they're dying already. So buy yourself some flowers. Again, treat yourself like you're a goddess.
Mm.
Okay.
Until next time.
I'll be in hopefully in follicular, so you'll get a different version of me then.